We'll just go on to Arteta now, and Arteta's future. Do you think, we spoke about having a trophyless season and the different scenarios with that? Do you think he should and would remain as the manager if we do have a trophyless season?
I think it depends on how the season went. I think if we had another season like last season, I don't see why you'd be asking. I mean, obviously pressure would start, but I don't think it would make any sense to really consider changing him. Let's say we'd gone completely backwards and finished fourth, didn't do anything in any cups, then of course there'd be questions.
Big questions of that,
because it's like, okay, have we just got to our peak under him and it's like we can't go further? But I think if Arsenal show repeats of last season throughout the season where they're consistently right up there, strong in attack, strong in defence, then you'll have to just accept the fact that, again, it comes back to the fact that City are a generational team, and it would be very hard for any manager to build a team to beat them to a Premier League title. So I think there'd definitely be a lot of pressure on him if he doesn't win a trophy, because like I said, it's not just the Prem, there's obviously the small cups, but the Champions League's there as well. But yeah, if Arsenal do what they've done the last 2 seasons, I don't see why you would really consider changing him.
Yeah, I think he'd have to be one of the worst seasons in recent Arsenal history for him to get sacked, because what he's done is just remarkable, isn't it? It is. It's in a short space of time.
And people forget, I think, and especially opposition fans will try and say, what has he won in that time? 1 FA Cup during COVID and stuff. But you actually can't forget how far Arsenal have come in the last few years.
We were stinking out the gaff 5-6 years ago.
So the back end back end of Wenger's era was if we finished, we would just about scrape fourth, and then at the end we wasn't even getting fourth, and then we had a couple of seasons after him where we were finishing 8th. It was awful to watch. There was no direction how he was playing it, and you just couldn't tell if we were going to win or lose a game. It was let's see what happens today. And he's not only turned that around to a team that can finish top 4 again. That was before we finished 4th that 2 seasons ago. If you'd have told me before that season we'd finished just 4th, I would have bit your hand off. It was we hadn't been in the Champions League for so long that you would literally just take a season where you finish in the Champions League. He went and finished 2nd. Obviously, because of how well we started, it felt we bottled the league or whatever, but we finished 2nd when a lot of fans would have taken 4th.
Yeah.
And then we went and finished 2nd again. So he's now turned a team that was finishing close to mid-table into not just a team that will comfortably finish in the top 4, but really push one of the best teams in Prem history. So you can't forget that. Arteta can definitely bridge the gap between the last couple seasons and winning stuff next season.
Yeah. And if we got rid of Arteta, Arteta to me right now is pretty much the perfect manager. If we got rid of him,
who are we getting?
Yeah. It most likely would crumble, pretty much. Not crumble, but it'd go a lot worse. The fans wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
The players have all come in and learned Arteta's
brought
ways.
Into him. Yeah. Every player now pretty much has been brought in by him.
Yeah.
You've got a squad. You'd be going under a crazy rebuild if you got rid of him, because you'd be bringing in a new manager with a set of players that he hasn't brought into the club, and he'd have to make it work.
Yeah. And I like the model of having a manager for a long period of time, especially if you trust a manager.
Once you start trusting him, there's no reason to start chopping and changing.
Yeah.
Obviously,
even if the results do slip.
Yeah, you can't just give a manager time endlessly. But I think Arsenal got out of that stage where it was questionable whether Arteta would be manager or not. He managed to convince us. He won that FA Cup, then he built from that. Now it's unless he just erases all of what he's done with a terrible season, there's absolutely no reason, I think, to consider changing him. I think he should be manager for the next few years, definitely.
Yeah, he's young, good, exciting football, speaks well, funny hand movements on the side.
Nah, he's got everything. Yeah, he's got everything you'd want.